Hey you riders, thanks for joining me tonight. And tonight I'm on a bit of a bittersweet mission. This is going to be my final ride on the Aprilia Tuono V4 factory. Now, as part of this final ride, this is basically going to be my long-term review on the bike. I've actually owned this bike since April and it's now end of August, so stay with me and I'll tell you why I've decided to chop her in and what, if anything, I'm going to be replacing her with. So first things first, please, if you wouldn't mind giving the channel a subscribe and like this video, comment below with your thoughts on the Tuono, and it all helps my channel and it helps me grow. I'm not a professional, never will be, but still, if you enjoy these videos, please support me. So we're going to start off with my long-term review of this bike then. So I've had her 4 months, and in that time I've probably only done about 1,000 miles. And but yeah, I've got a good understanding of what the bike is about, what she'd like to live with, the pros and cons. So let's start off with the pros first. 1, 2, 3. You'd never get bored of that. I mean, this is the standard exhaust and it sounds demented. It's one of those bikes where I've not felt the need to actually change the exhaust. That engine, is the star of the show, no doubt about it. The best thing about this bike, it's flexible, grunty, there's power everywhere, and it sounds absolutely amazing. Doesn't particularly like lower speeds, but then that's not what this bike is about, isn't it? Obviously you got a full package of rider aids on here, from your rider modes to your cornering, ABS and traction control to keep it safe. I very rarely felt any of it work, to be honest, so it's a testament to how much mechanical grip this bike actually has. Comfort wise, it is sporty. I mean, it's not quite sports bike uncomfortable. It's sort of like between a naked and a sports bike. Make sure it's recording. Yes, and so it's not the most comfortable bike out there, but it is acceptable for a couple of hours riding. The seat is actually alright. The seat is pretty comfortable, got no grumbles from my backside. You are kind of leaning forward still. And your knees are I mean, I'm 5'10", and the legs are slightly bent, so it's not unbearable. It's not like a sports bike, but it does get uncomfortable after a while. But again, compared to a fully fledged sports bike, it's fine. That's one thing I like about this bike. The lights come on automatically when it gets dark. Which brings us on to the TFT. It's really nice. Everything's clear, got all the info you need at a glance. Speedo in big letters, big numbers. I've always said letters, haven't I? Gear indicator. Fuel gauge, obviously. The revs are fairly easy to see. And obviously all your trips. It does get a bit confusing when you go through the modes. Yeah, so you can go through different options on your screen. And you get one there, you can change your suspension settings on the fly. So I'm in manual 3 at a minute. It's a manual road. It is all semi-active OLEDs. I'd say the suspension coming onto that, it is, well, obviously it's OLEDs and it's semi-active, but it's not the plushest. And although it's semi-automatic, you have to the preload is done manually for some reason. You know, I mean, why not have everything electronic? There you go. That's one of them things. In terms of riding, aids, you got your your cruise control, which is really annoying though, because so you have to push that button to the left to turn it on, and when a system is active but not set, it just flashes like an indicator and it doesn't go off until you actually, always press it the wrong way, until you actually push it back to the left and set your speed. Once it's set like this, you're okay. You can go up, down, so it's easy to adjust on the fly. But it is annoying once you cancel it, it just goes back to that flashing. We'll turn that off. But yeah, it works well, so there's no issue in that respect. But okay, ta-da! Beauty. So this is where your problems are. This isn't a light bike. I think it's about 210 kilos, which doesn't sound much, but that weight is actually quite high up. And there's been a couple of times where I've been caught on adverse camber and I've nearly dropped it. So that's something to bear in mind. That weight is fairly higher up. So let's get off and I'll show you around. So let's go over the good to bad and the ugly of the Tuono V4. I've made me notes. So they're good. I mean, the looks, they do grow on you. I thought at first I wasn't sure, but the more I've owned this bike, the more the looks are growing on me, and I think it looks pretty neat now. It's, I mean, the winglets there are pretty well tucked away. They're not like on a Ducati Street Fighter, which are, look like bolt-on accessories from Halfords. Apart from the rear tail tidy, the rear end is quite sharp. The detail, like the Aprilia logo there, it's lacquered in. That's a nice little touch. A few little touches like the Aprilia badge there as well. Yeah, it's a good looking bike this. The welds look nice and neat all over. Yeah, even the standard exhaust isn't too bad. Yeah, so the looks are great on me. The TFT dash, as we said, is clear and comprehensive. Got all the info you could need on it. You have got Bluetooth connectivity as an option, but you have to pay for that, obviously. The standard mirrors, got a good view out of them, and they don't look too bad, to be fair. Obviously the best thing, the style of the show, as I said earlier, is that glorious V4 engine. It's one of the best engines I've ever done with, to be honest. I love it. It's addictive. There are some downsides to that engine though, and we'll come to that in a minute. Daytime running lights are pretty nice, and they're very distinctive as well. Doesn't stop people pulling out on your mind. I've found that happen to me. Yeah, very distinctive. That a pretty family face. There's your TFT dash. The comfort and riding position are lovely for a bike like this. Obviously it's not a touring bike, I wouldn't tour on it, but it is acceptable for what it is. The suspension, as we mentioned, at Odin's semi-active, and you know, it works really well and it's brilliant, but it's still a bit firm, and you can tell this is a bike that's aimed at a track more than the road. So that brings us on to the negatives of the bike. When you're riding, those mirrors, although they do look good and you got a good view out of them, they do stick out quite a bit, and they are literally in the right perfect position to catch car mirrors. So that's one negative. When you're riding as well, it's also very easy when you're using the clutch. It's very easy to catch. You got the traction control buttons here to turn up, down or up. It's easy to turn the traction control down by mistake. Obviously I've got Evotech levers on this now, but the stock levers are horrific, and they look like they belong on a cheap Chinese 125. Not good for a bike that's retails at 18 grand. Although you can get them for much cheaper than that, but again, what we've said about the seat is quite high. I don't expect offhand, I'll flash it up. I think it's about 835 or something like that, and the weight is high up, and it does make it a handful in town. It's not the easiest bike to ride at slow speeds either, because the clutch is a bit grabby as well, and it's not hydraulic, it's a cable clutch. Yeah, so that is a bit grabby, and it's easy to stall when it gets hot as well. And when the bike gets hot as well, I've had a couple of times where the engine's come close to getting too hot, and I've had to stop and let it cool down. Not good for a year-old bike with just over 2,000 miles on. I mean, how do they cope in Italy? You know, I mean, Italian towns must be stopping all the bloody time. The turning circle was absolutely laughable. I mean, this is one of the big problems I have. I'm not going to be able to show it now, but yeah, I mean, the turning circle with sports bike light, and just getting it out of my shed and onto my drive turns into a 20-port turn, and it's quite embarrassing really. And basically all this combined just makes this not particularly nice bike to ride up to low speeds, because the engine does grumble a bit, the fueling does grumble a bit at lower speeds. So yeah, I've been caught out a couple of times, I nearly dropped it. So I did have crash bobbins on here, but I've taken them off because I was on selling the bike. But yeah, if you're in the market for one of these, I would definitely recommend getting crash protection. You will likely make use of it at some point when you catch a bit of adverse camber. Lastly, of the negatives, is the petrol consumption. It's bloody eye-watering. This is not an environmentally friendly bike. Even taking it easy, I've struggled to get over 40 miles to the gallon. So yeah, and if you really go for it, you're gonna get to tank of fuel in 100 miles. That's one good thing about the bike, actually. The size of the fuel tank, 17.9, which is a good size actually for a tank. Couple of other positives. I thought, although the switchgear is a little bit basic, it does all work efficiently and works well, and it's quite pleasing to the touch, you know. Yeah, so especially the traction control up and down buttons, I think they look quite neat. So yeah, let's get on and ride some more. So there you have it. The main reason I'm selling is because this bike just doesn't suit my own riding needs. It's fine for the odd time where I want to go absolutely ballistic, but the reality is there's not that many opportunities for that on UK roads. Especially as I'm someone who needs their licence for work, and that's always at the back of my mind when riding this thing. Because literally, if you go on a second gear, if I were to whack open the throttle now, we'd be doing city license losing speed in a matter of a couple of seconds. One thing we didn't touch on earlier is the handling. So I've had to do a lot of experimenting with the different suspension settings to get it right. And I think I've got it about right now. But the only thing I'm not massively keen on is the Pirelli Supercorsa tyres. I don't know, they just don't inspire me with a confidence. I think they're probably more of a track tyre, I don't know. I mean, I'm just used to Michelin's. So yeah, if I was keeping this bike longer term, I'd be fitting a set of Michelin Road 6s on. So yeah, and now I've got a suspension about where I want it. This is a lovely handling bike, but that's at faster speeds. It's when you get at the slower speeds where she really struggles with that ridiculous turning circle. I'm not someone who's ever going to go on track, but as a track bike, this is obviously going to be phenomenal. No two ways about it. So it is a bike that does make you feel good when you're out on her. Just listen to that V4 engine growl. mean, I'm barely tickling the throttle. I think as well, when I do commute to work on her, I do a lot of dual carriageway work, and you have to be very careful. And I've got to work at in double quick time, which you know, really isn't, especially in the morning. Just got to be careful. So this thing just eggs you on though. The good thing about the chassis on this as well is it's not a wheelie monster. You know, I thought it might just want to lift the front wheel everywhere, but it doesn't. It's quite well planted, I suppose, because it's a fairly heavy bike. You know, so you got those that wings there. It all conspires to help that in terms of that. So would I recommend a Tuono? Absolutely. I mean, if you want a hyper naked, you know, this is a great bike. There's no two ways about it. Fantastic machine. I've had a couple of engine lights come on and come off. I had a brake warning light, brake stuck warning the other day. But just switch ignition off and back on, and never came back. So so yeah, reliability wise, I know I've not done massive miles, it's been fine. So yeah, I mean, when all said and done, I've just personally realised that it's not what I want from a bike. So the bike I'm picking up tomorrow, I'm part exchanging this against, it's another Italian lady, but she's a lot more nimble, she's a lot lighter, and that lightness means agility. I mean, I gelled with it pretty much instantly and realised that that's more me than this is. Don't get me wrong, if I had an endless pit of money and a huge garage, I'd be keeping this. But for the car riding I do, the bike I'm picking up tomorrow is pretty much perfect. Let's get this way. What I love with that quick shifter is you can hear some pops and bangs from the exhaust. When you're going up and down a box. So I'm not going to reveal which bike I'm picking up tomorrow. That'll be for a future video, so you have to stay tuned. But for now, I suppose my final words with regards to the ownership experience of the Aprilia Tuono V4. I don't regret buying the bike. I've lost a bit of money, yes, but I've always hankered after a big hyper naked, and now I've owned one, I realise I enjoy the riding experience, but it's not for me. I prefer lighter, nimble bikes. I mean, the bike I'm getting has got 111 horsepower, so but it weighs about 35 kilos less, so it really didn't feel that much slower in the real world. So there we have it, on that bombshell note and on this beautiful evening in the UK. Thanks for riding with me, V Riders, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Ta-ta!